3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Howdy, and welcome back to a long-awaited episode of the Texas Private School Podcast. I, as always, am one-third of your hosting crew, Wes Tolleson, joining you from the Rose Capital of the world, Tyler, Texas. Walker Lott joins me from College Station, and Ryan Schroeder joins me from somewhere in the Northeast. I want to say New Jersey, maybe?
Ocean City, New Jersey.
Dude, let's go.
Yeah, there you
So,
go.
fellas, we're in different places today. Walker, I'll start with you. How's stuff been in College Station? What do you think about the current state of private school athletics?
What a question. I think it's a great place for private school athletics, and I'm doing good. Summertime, trying to take some summer classes, but getting ready for the summer, getting ready for all the excitement that comes with it.
Good answer.
Thank
Ryan,
you.
why are you in Ocean City, New Jersey?
Well, just got done with Oklahoma State baseball. We lost in the regional round, and I was shooting that for a while, but I got a little family trip. Glad I could make the family trip, and just spending time out here in the Northeast.
But you know who made the Omaha?
That's not funny. That's not funny. That's not even close to funny. But
Dude, without a
best of luck
sweat,
though.
too.
Best of luck.
Omaha, baby. Omaha.
Dude,
Best of luck.
I want the Omahaws. I want to see Arkansas. I want to send Arkansas home.
Oh yeah, okay.
We play OU to start it off.
I'm not
I
a
did
big
see
fan
that.
of Arkansas. Let that be.
No,
known.
I've had perennial beef with Arkansas. Like everyone, Grace community apparently is just a feeder school to Arkansas. So I just have to talk mess to everyone that ever graduated from Grace. That's beside the point. I literally have in the intro brief, don't ramble, and I've started to ramble. So we're going to quickly transition to the actual episode. It's a Q&A episode. We actually got to interact with a lot of you, and we're very excited to do so. But first, there's some bombshell news that we have to react to, and it's actually coming out of the UIL side of athletics, and it has to relate to freshmen on varsity. The UIL will meet this upcoming Tuesday. I think that'll be June the 14th, and discuss some rule changes. Among them, they're considering banning freshmen from playing varsity athletics. There's not a whole lot of statement here on why, but you can speculate it's because they don't want to be liable and they don't want to have kids getting hurt when they're not ready for varsity athletics. My quick thoughts on it are, this is ridiculous. I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense. I think coaches are going to wait to play kids until they're actually ready, and that just kind of happens naturally. But just Walker, really quickly, what do you think about the UIL potentially banning freshmen from playing private school or from playing in athletic varsity competitions?
I mean, I think first of all, I think if this actually happens, it will be one of the wildest things that has ever happened. I think this is not going to even come close to being finalized, but I think it's some person out there was like, oh, we should put this in there. And I don't even think it gets one foot in the door type of thing. I think it just had to be appealed, and it's going to get declined very easily. If that's my opinion on it, I just don't see this going to be passed. It's a very wild thing to not allow freshmen on varsity, because if that just means, I don't think that just means football. That means every sport.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's going to be sports that aren't going to be able to have enough guys to even have a team. If you're talking all of UIL down to 2A, that you're going to need all from freshman to varsity to even make, or freshman to senior that even make a team. Like teams like golf or, tennis or like baseball, like they're not going to have enough guys to make a team if you don't get all varsity guys that are able to play. So I think that by itself is going to make it case closed. But I mean, what a wild thing.
Dude, you say that you think it won't get one foot in the door. I have to counter that. I think there's at least a decent chance this gets passed. I think crazier things have happened. I'm 100% serious. I think that we're in such a crazy era of change in sports. I mean, NIL and stuff like that has nothing to do with this, but it's just an example of how rapidly things are changing in all levels of sports right now. I think there's a half decent chance this gets passed, and it'll get passed in the next couple of days. So we can definitely make a follow-up when that happens and just discuss, because if it does get passed, this is going to send a wave of kids into private school athletics. For selfish reasons, kind of hope it gets passed. You know how crazy that would be for private school sports?
I mean, because a lot of times you see a lot of the younger private school guys go out and be like, all right, I'm a name, I leave.
Right.
I don't think you'll see that as much probably nowadays. It might maybe kind of the opposite, you know? You never know.
No, it's super, super interesting. Ryan, I haven't heard from you yet. What do you think about all this commotion? And do you think there's any chance this actually gets across?
See, I like how Walker brought up the different sports aspect. I think this is beyond a football thing. As you get lower in the UIL ranks and as you get lower in just like amount of kids per school, this is a problem for different sports because you might not make roster sizes and you might count on those kids that don't know maybe what sport they want to go down in the rest of their high school career. So they try out a bunch their freshman year of high school and and then they can't play the varsity sport. That just doesn't make enough sense. If this rule is only applied to 4A, 5A, 6A, maybe you could see it that way, but at the same time then you have to have restrictions for different classifications. Different teams would have to be different classifications. It'd just be a whole thing, which means I know they're definitely, if they do it, it's gonna go for all UIL. It's not just gonna be specific classifications. With that being said, though, I think this is something that would erupt like with parents and stuff like that. Like parents would get very frustrated. The 7th and 8th graders that are coming into the high school scene are going to be, playing all these years and basically ready to get onto the scene if they are that talented. And then they have to automatically sit their freshman year with how talented they'd be.
Yeah.
And it's like what you said, Walker. Like if they're not ready for it, the coach will sit them. The coach will not play them if they're not ready.
And on to that point, in a world that like the class of 2027's guys have Twitters and have been in the not national media, but trying to be in the media since they're in 6th grade. I mean, that this is not the time to do it. It isn't. If you wanted to implement it freshman year, 10, 15 years ago, maybe, but even that still is wild. But yeah, like no coach. I mean, I try to I was telling him, you try to see it reasonably that a coach will not put a freshman in if it does not help the team win or does not hurt the kid as well. But you don't know that for sure. And that's probably hey, what about this? What if you put a freshman in and he gets hurt because he's playing against senior guys? That's the argument probably here. But I don't know if that's such a big argument to risk everything else that is involved with it.
I also don't know if that's a big enough argument to risk every sport too, right?
Yeah.
And if this was just a football thing with the contact of football, you could argue that. But this is a all sport wide, ordeal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's primarily for football because I think it's just they're worried about underdeveloped kids getting thrown into not a contact sport, basically a collision sport at full speed. And say like someone hasn't fully hit puberty yet, but they need them in that game. You're like 130 pounds soaking wet, and some 220 linebacker cracks your skull. I mean, I think that's what they're worried about. But it's just the reality of that happening. Someone that's ready to play isn't going to be like 130, 140 pounds. They're going to be developed freshmen. But, that's what we've been saying. And I don't know. I know I was saying that there's a decent chance it'll get passed. I don't think it will. But if the UIL's goal is to completely blow the program up from the inside, I think they'll pass it. I think that this will just destroy the UIL if it goes through, but we'll see, and we'll update you when it happens on our thoughts. But Ryan, another thing I wanted to cover specifically with you, they're talking about adding a shot clock for basketball, which is something in Texas that I have begged for years and years. It's needed to be implemented. It needs to happen. It looks like it might get passed now. What do you think about the potential for a shot clock in the UIL and maybe the possibility of that transferring to private school?
It's in a couple different states. Like this is a state to state thing. And other states do fine with it. Other states have been just fine with it. It's not, it's never been really a problem. It's just something that's never been brought up. I think it's just the thing. It's like they've gone without it forever, but you're getting to a stage now where it's getting really bad into the game situations where, you're forced to foul and it basically just blows out the chance of ever a comeback in the final 5 minutes of a game. You got coaches sometimes holding the ball at half court. And we've all seen those videos and stuff like that. So this is my proposal in general. I think if you do it, so if anybody doesn't know, the NBA is 24 seconds, college is 30 seconds. I don't hate it being 35 seconds. That seems like a pretty good amount of time to me. 35 seconds would be my sweet spot. If they made it 30, that's fine too. But 35 seconds is a good amount of time, to force somebody to take a shot. I think that would work out. If it gets passed in UIL, I definitely could see this getting passed in TAPS a couple years down the line, if not this year as well. This is just a rule that's needed to have been added for a while now, and they're just getting to it. So.
Oh yeah, I definitely think TAPS and SBC are kind of waiting back and seeing what the UIL does. I think they'll probably follow suit. But yeah, no, I agree. It needs to happen. I think whether it's like 30 or 35, it's not a big deal. But there just needs to be a shot clock in place. I think we've all more or less said that for a long time. Hopefully it passes. So that's all we have for the potential UIL changes and how that might impact private school athletics. So let's get into the Q&A. First topic we're going to cover. Texas private school football coaching changes. There has been a plethora of them in the past couple months. The biggest one is Chris Cunningham to Midland. Obviously, Chris Cunningham is the esteemed Prestonwood coach, won several state championships with them in about a decade and a half long run. It's a big deal, him going out to Midland. Midland, who were the state runners-up in D1 last year, moving down to D2 this year, and the absolute cluster that D2 will be. But I mean, I'll ask both of you, Walker first. Chris Cunningham to Midland. We talked about it on Twitter already a little bit, but what do you think this means for, first of all, Midland, but second of all, Prestonwood?
I mean, you're getting a proven winner. I think that's first and foremost the biggest thing they got, because Midland has a history of being successful and dominant, and you have a guy who can continue that tradition, which I think that first and foremost is, what they needed. And they got a guy who has been proven to win it in TAPS. So I think that was a home run hit for them. I mean, perfect for them and what they do. Always Midland is known for being tough, resilient, all those West Texas boys. That's how they are. So if he brings that to them, that's what they need. And that will be even, maybe turn it into a grand slam type of hit, because you already have a guy who can win and you bring in a culture with that. I mean, that's what you need. And props to him for right now. Midland's not a favorable job to take, and he took it because he wanted to change that culture. So props to him to taking that, and I wish him nothing but the best to turning that team around and looking forward to making another state championship run in the fall.
I'm very interested to see how Coach Cunningham will take the reins in a program where uncertain is a very, very soft word to describe it at the time, but we will see how that goes. Ryan, you were actually just at Prestonwood recently. Talk about how Cunningham's exit leaves Prestonwood in the position they're in with a new coach.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're ready to scoop it up at Prestonwood. I think they're ready to take the legacy he left and pick it up right there. And I think what, like, we're going into Midland, and what you said is like he's like going to push them over the edge, like that hump that Midland's had this entire time. Coach Cunningham pushes them over the edge. And I see this being a very great thing for Midland. You're getting a great coach in Coach Cunningham, but I also like, what Prestonwood is doing. Prestonwood is going to be right there, hopefully back in the same mix as they were. Such a legacy of championships won in the 2010 era. And I don't see that being a far off thing. I mean, they're going to be in D1 now. And like we're going to talk about, with the whole district shift, you're getting a whole new lineup, and we'll see if Prestonwood can maybe switch things up with how they do, and we'll see if they stay the same. I'm excited to see how they play in the fall versus how they have been playing these past 15 years with Coach Cunningham.
It'll be really interesting to see how they move on after Cunningham leaves. But turning our attention towards something else, and something that affects us pretty personally, Coach Hoffmeyer is out at Brazos Christian. It makes me sad. Coach Hoff is one of the first people we got to interact with. Obviously, the hometown coach led Brazos Christian to an incredible run this past year, falling in the was it the first or the second round of the playoffs, Walker, to Shiner?
Second, I think.
Yeah, in the second round, which was an absolute crime that game was then. But I mean, Coach Hoff is going to Bastrop to be a linebackers coach. We wish him nothing but the best, and we are very, very excited to see how his career takes him. But even bigger news that came out like a week ago. Coach Terry Pirtle, the head coach of Second Baptist for the past decade or so, I'm pretty sure that's right. He took the Houston Christian athletic director position. That is a big move for him, but it also puts Second Baptist in a really, really interesting position. I don't think did either of you? I don't think anyone really saw this coming outside of maybe Houston Christian or people at SPS. So where do you think, Walker, I'll start with you. Where do you think this leaves Second Baptist with Pirtle taking an AD job at Houston Christian?
I mean, I think for Houston Christian, you got a guy who, we all respect really highly of, and is a guy who can really help y'all's athletics move forward, especially the football side. If he's more, I know he's AD, but if he's if he's helping out with football, that's a great guy to have on, a guy who just brought Second Baptist to a state championship appearance. Sorry. But I mean, yeah, it was just kind of a shock because, I went down there to give Everett and Eli their awards down there in Second Baptist, and he was there, and a couple of days later he's gone. But that's just the nature of the business. That's how it is. But yeah, I mean, I think for Houston Christian, that's big for them. But it's going to be exciting to see who. I don't know if they've announced it, but I don't think Second Baptist has who's taken over for the job.
No, nothing but what I've seen yet. It'll be interesting to see who they choose because Pirtle went on, he won, was it 8 or 9 straight district championships in that district in the South?
Something like that, but very, very impressive. Also, I want to add on to the Brazos Christian hire. The guy who they replaced him with, Corey Washington from Austin Brentwood, is a really, really respected man. Did a lot of success down there in Brentwood, and now is going to be an assistant athletic director there at Brazos Christian. And is also a really, really good dude. I'm excited to finally meet him in person, whatever it is. So if you watch this, hey, we'll come by, come say what's up. So.
Oh yeah, definitely a home run hire for Brazos Christian. I'm very excited to take the very short 5-minute trip down the road and meet him personally. Ryan, what do you think about Coach Pirtle leaving Houston Christian in a position that leaves Second Baptist?
I think this is great for Houston Christian. Pirtle obviously has shown success, and I know he's going to an AD position, but like Walker said, if he helps out with football at all, I mean, this is a program, Houston Christian, 10 wins in the last 5 years of the Houston Christian program. And so you're looking at a team that, probably needs some major help. And I think you're getting a coach in there that maybe can make coaching changes or whatever he needs to do to basically, fill that program. I think Houston Christian is looking for a boost, and with a hiring like Pirtle, I think who's ever on the board there at Houston Christian is doing the right thing.
I completely agree. I really, really do hope that that Coach Pirtle really pulls their football program up to another level and gets them competitive. I would think that would be very interesting to see, and I hope he gets that done. But that is all we have on Texas private school coaching changes. Now we're going to talk about something fun in rising private school athletes in recruiting. The past couple months of summer have been very, very beneficial to about 4 or 5 private school athletes. We're going to name them here. So the first athlete we're going to discuss actually is Robert Sanders, going to be a senior edge rusher and wide receiver for All Saints out of Fort Worth. His offers are Washington State, Arizona, Memphis, Tulane, UTSA, among others. He has gotten 8 D1 offers since the beginning of May. So, Walker, I know we've talked a good amount about how much talent All Saints is going to have this upcoming year. How do you think Robert Sanders is going to fit into that picture, rushing off the edge and I guess catching passes as a wide receiver?
Yeah, he's for sure an edge guy more.
Yeah.
He is the guy. I remember because he was at Country Day his first year maybe in high school. And, he was a quarterback, and then they had the guy over there last year. So in Hamp Fay. And so he went over the defensive side of the ball, and he found his place over there. And that's where you see the attention and you see the athleticism, and it's off the charts. And he's a guy that, will make his mark next year. And, he competed against a lot of guys like Curly Thomas last year. So he didn't have the most sacks, but man, he had a great year, and you saw the stats. Great player. And I'm excited to see him next year. He has a really good motor, and you need those guys. And he fits like, the kind of the new age off the line, stand up on the edge, rush the passer, and he's a good guy to be that player for a lot of schools.
For sure. Ryan, you have anything to add on just Robert Sanders and his plethora of offers he's gotten from camp season?
I just think A1D offers since the beginning of May. When's the last time someone has gotten that many D1 offers outside of the football months of the year? It's like, he's getting them in May. I mean, we don't see that often unless it's in season. I don't know. I just feel like that's different.
Yeah, so Robert Sanders definitely got to watch this upcoming year for All Saints. Next guy is Luke Anderson, going to be a senior linebacker, running back, free safety, every position, I guess, from Fort Worth Christian, the guy that we've actually been following pretty closely for the past year. I know me and Walker have talked about him. He has offers from CSU, Rice, Penn, Harvard, Princeton, Holy Cross, and probably any other Ivy League school you can think of. He runs a 10,800 meter, which caught my dash. That is moving for a linebacker and a running back. Yeah. So, Walker, I know I just mentioned we've discussed Luke Anderson and how he really has the potential to have a high ceiling. What do you think of the recent offers he's gotten and how he can help Fort Worth Christian his senior year?
I mean, I want to talk about the rise for him for a second. He was a 6-man guy, then came into Fort Worth Christian and then just was like, took a year, and then now he's killing it. And, his athleticism is off the charts. That's why you see it. And like, he is very, very good, man. I think he's a guy who's going to explode. Give him more senior tape. Let him do this offseason, camp circuit, maybe. I'm excited to see it because he's the size for 6'1", 210, runs fast, probably is a good side-to-side linebacker. I mean, that's what you want probably for an interior backer. Like, that's what you want. A good size, good length, and can run side to side. And that's what you want,
Oh, yeah, he's a beast. Ryan, you got anything to add on Luke Anderson?
I mean, I saw him play this year, and I'll tell you right now, this is a guy that is going to do whatever for his team, no matter how the team is, particularly playing. I mean, I think Luke Anderson just proves to be that player that can go accomplish whatever he wants, whether the team is winning or losing.
Oh, yeah. And I think, go on.
I want to add to that because, like, you see now in the days of college, right? You're not getting you see them. Don't get me wrong. You see the big muscly linebackers, right? You see those. But college is, because of just athleticism is off the charts these days. You need to match that on the defensive side of the ball. So you're seeing a lot of like kind of shorter, maybe a little slimmer, long athletic linebackers. And he's not the tallest, not above 6'1", but he is fast and he's athletic. And that's what you want on the defensive side of the ball. And that's why I think colleges are going to keep an eye on him for down the line.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It'll be fascinating to see where Luke Anderson ends up. Moving on, we see William Speedy Nettles, class of 24, Dallas Christian corner, a guy that we saw several times this past year. He holds offers from Ole Miss, SMU, Tulane, UTSA, Georgetown, and Tulsa. Nettles is a guy that has really, really blown up this summer specifically. I mean, that Ole Miss offer, which I think is his most recent, is huge. I mean, that's SEC as an upcoming junior. So that's not even – he doesn't even have all of his junior tape yet, which when guys start getting recruited heavy. I mean, this is a guy for DC who could go Power 5. So, Walker, Speedy Nettles, we've had some interaction with him. Your thoughts on his rise this summer and, his ceiling. Do you think he could be a Power 5 corner?
I mean, I think without a doubt. I mean, what is he at? He's a 24. He has 2 more years of high school, and he's already getting the offers he is. And he's already good, and he can only get better, he's doing the 7-on-7 thing with, I believe, True Buzz right now. And he's doing the visits and all of that. And he's having a great time with that. And you see the offers and you see the hype starting to build. And I think the sky's the limit for the guy. I mean, you saw it last year. When you had him on the field, he basically almost locked down a side of a field, basically everything in TAPS D2. And I'm not surprised if I could see him maybe put him at safety and be like, all right, try to test him next year, try to test him over the top. And I mean, you could do anything in TAPS D3 with Speedy next year on defensive side of the ball, which is going to be a nightmare for for offensive coordinators.
I agree. I had some questions whether he was going to stay at DC with them moving down, but I figured, I mean, he still seems committed to Dallas Christian. I think he'll be there for this upcoming year. So it'll be an event with Speedy Nettles at corner for them in D3. Ryan, your thoughts on William Speedy Nettles, the 24 cornerback?
I think D3 is just a crazy spot for a guy like him. Like, he's gonna destroy the entire crap out of any wide receiver that comes over his way. Like, are we kidding at this point? I mean, he is not the type of guy that, is meant to play against guys that are in D3. Like, D3 guys come out of the classroom and are going to football practice, like trying to have a good time. You got Speedy Nellos coming at you, is not the same. So when you say, Power Five, I could not agree more. Like, he will eventually be at a level where he'll have any offer to choose from, like any college to choose from, just because, like, he's going off of sophomore tape right now. I'm convinced by the time he's leaving his senior year, wherever he's committed to, will go wherever he wants to go. I mean, I think that's just, you already have the Ole Miss offer coming in right now. It's May of his going into his junior year, or just June going into his junior year now. It's like, come on,
I mean, and it's going to be crazy because probably his junior film is not going to be as good because it's going to be him just locking down a guy and he's not even going to touch the ball. Like, that's how it's
They
going
won't throw to
Right.
the side of the field.
like, that's how it's
why,
going to be.
why would they?
Right. Why would you? And so when you have that much respect for the opposing side, I mean, that's all you need to say.
That's why I think this summer and especially next summer for him will be the two most important sections of his high school football career. Just that camp circuit and 7-on-7 is where he's going to make his money. Because, I mean, we all know what he's going to do against D3 talent. It'll just be interesting to see how he performs at camps and on a 7-on-7 circuit.
And against his, the non-conference schedule they have this year, that's going to be really interesting to see.
Yeah, with Fort Bend and JP2. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how they do.
Going against guys like Domino next year, that's gonna be a fun to watch. That's gonna be a fun to watch.
Have I mentioned that we need to go see that game? I think I've said that a couple times.
Oh, I might have mentioned it, but we might have to go see it.
Without a doubt. But moving into the last guy we're going to talk about, Sawyer Anderson. Sawyer, he got a lot of his offers a little bit earlier than May, but we still have to talk about him. I mean, after his freshman year, he started to explode. He holds offers from Arkansas, Oklahoma State, TCU, SMU, Texas Tech, Missouri. I don't like this comparison. A lot of guys are going to say he's like Preston Stone 2.0. I think it's kind of a lazy comparison. I think the way that they have blown up at such a young age is the same, but I think they're two very different players. But a lot of people are going to say that, and they are similar in terms of their recruiting timeline. Is Sawyer going to develop to how Preston developed? We have no idea. He's only played 1 year. But Walker, I mean, what do you think about Sawyer garnering all this attention after a state championship, a very successful freshman season?
I mean, I'm looking at his Twitter right now, and his pen tweet says stat leaders for whatever, right? For Max Preps. Number 1, 25 quarterback in Texas. Number 4, 25 in the country. 2,900 passing yards, 32 passing touchdowns. And what I think is the most impressive is a 65% completion rate as a freshman. Yep. And also a 131 quarterback rating. Those are the things that are like, all right, you can throw the ball on that team, you're better team than most teams. But can you be accurate with it? Can you can you be the guy that makes, is a good player for your team? And that's what is impressive to me. And that's what the look, you can watch him play and you'd be like, oh yeah, you get it. You see the offers, you see it, but like, he's a good player and he makes the right reads. He makes the right decisions. And that's what's very, very impressive at such a young age. And you can only get better. Of course he has to get bigger, maybe get a few inches taller. But like, man, he can only grow like mentally and get better mentally, and he'll grow physically. That just takes time, of course. But like the mental side of the game is what impressed me.
No, dude, it's a scary thing to think about. He is because I've watched him probably 2 or 3 times this last season. He is so incredibly polished for who was a freshman this last year. It's ridiculous. I just watched him warm up more than anything, and just the crisp precision he has in preparation for a game. I mean, the kid was like what, maybe 14, 15 years old. And it's just the ability to lock in and prepare like that when most guys are just like at that age running around in the bleachers, just having fun. I mean, it's incredibly impressive, the maturity that the kid holds. And I think that translates well to the field. Ryan, I almost said Preston Stone, Sawyer Anderson. What are your thoughts on him and the trajectory that you think he'll show?
Imagine Sawyer Anderson wasn't allowed to play as a freshman.
Oh, that's a big
Eh,
deal. I
right?
mean, because
Right?
then who? Oh, that's a what if, whatever, you know.
Dude, that's a loop it all the way back around. I like it.
It's a
Right.
good, yeah.
I don't know. That's some things that you think about. Well, it's kind of crazy how all that happens. And obviously, he's a transfer from. It would have been going to Highland Park, right? I think that's
I
what it
think
was.
so.
He was supposed to go to Highland Park. He was in the Highland Park 8th grade area, and yeah, I mean, he's proved that he can do anything his freshman year. We know it's going to come the rest of the years down the line. Um, I don't really have anything more to add than what y'all said, but yeah, that's a crazy thing to think about, at least.
It really is. I think the future's in good hands. But that'll conclude our Rising Private School Athletes section. Now we're going to answer Josh Warnock's question: that who are the top 4 teams in Division Two? Um, it was hard for me to whittle down 4 teams. There's a couple teams that come to mind immediately, but what I came up with was, in no particular order, is Midland, All Saints, Fort Bend, and then Regents and Fort Worth Christian, I think, are there. Walker made me question putting Southwest above Fort Worth Christian. I really don't know at this point. But I think Midland, All Saints, and Fort Bend are my top 3 for sure. And I think Regents and Fort Worth are right there. Fort Worth always such a wild card though. They always had the talent to do it. I just never know if they're going to get it done. But I mean, Walker, who would you have as your top 4 teams in D2 in June?
Um, I think All Saints is up there. I think Fort Bend's up there. I think state champion appearance in Midland has to be on there, and the fourth you can I'm
You're going to say SCS, aren't you?
no I don't think so this year. I think they lost a lot. It's gonna be interesting to see what they can do, but I think they can make a playoff run. I don't
Yeah.
know if you can call yourself the top 4 right now.
I don't know, dude. Playoff runs are going to be hard in that district.
It is. It really is. Uh, Hopefully they do like the best 4 in that district go to playoffs and they do something like that. Like like I hope they help with that. I don't know. I don't
No,
know.
it's gonna be 3.
It's going to be the 5 situation where you have 5 teams in each one, and the best 3 go. That's how it's always been.
That's rough. That's really
It is rough. Let me
anyway.
see. I think All Saints, Midland.
Well,
I don't know. Maybe FWC. I don't know how Fort Worth Christian's gonna do. Anyway,
but okay,
continue.
I think the 4th spot, I think in between it's Regents / I think St. Michael's. I think whatever Austin school makes it out of that district is gonna be that 4th place team.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a smart list. Ryan, who do you have for us? Oh, I see it on the dock.
Yeah, I got Midland. I think that's pretty set in stone. You know, they make a finals appearance. Why not? And I have, FBCA. I think, they're bringing a lot back to the table. So I think they're going to be right back in there. I think Regents is one that I have on there. I really like the play style there. I think it's something that will continue to, be coached well there. So I don't see that changing. And then this is where I kind of like come in. It's like, I don't think All Saints will be the same team. I have faith in Southwest Christian, even though Walker might not have faith in his own team. I have faith in Southwest Christian. I think they'll be able to put it together. And I think what you'll see is they're going to be the 3rd team to come out of that district, but they're going to have so much experience from all the teams they're playing in that district to basically move their way up. Like I think you'll realize like all those teams will all get better because of them playing each other during the regular season, and they're all going to be powerhouses against each other, which is hilarious to me that they're all in the same district, but that's what's going to happen. A team that I don't have in there is definitely, I don't think Fort Worth Christian's going to be in there again. That's a school that I think at this point, is looking with the talent that they have to put something together. If they do, this is kind of like my shout right now. Is like they have so much talent there with Trimble and Anderson and all that. If they don't put something together this year, then it's never going to happen. Like, Fort Worth Christian will never, have a run like this unless they bring people in. But this is the season to do it for Fort Worth Christian. And in my opinion, I don't think it happens. They did well in district last year, but I don't know. I think you got 4 teams ahead of you that are running a faster speed than you.
I want to say
it's a bold gone.
I want to say, if Ryan, you were right a lot last year, and I hope you're right about SES this year. I really hope you are, because that kind of made sense to me. Because I will say, add on to that, the wing T offense of SES gives it's different for a lot of teams to face. So if you stop it, you stop it. But if you don't, it's hard to stop. So
that is a bold take, putting SCS over All Saints. So you think when they play head to head in that district that SCS will beat All Saints?
No, if what you're asking right now is the Final Four teams, if you ask for the Final Four teams in playoffs, this is who I'm going to give you. I'm giving you.
Okay.
See,
is that not what we're saying though?
I was just saying more like I was saying.
I would say like power rankings.
But I do like what you did.
I do like that, and I think
I just think you'll have 2 teams. All Saints obviously is in that same district, but if you had to say who my 2 guys from the north are and my 2 guys from the south are, that's what I'm picking.
I like that.
Very reasonable.
I appreciate that list. Then I love that. I really do.
Yeah, I top 4 teams in D1 power rankings. I guess I'd switch around a little bit, but yeah, I mean that's my Final Four right there. I think that if that's the same as it is come November, just crown me now. Crown me now. Yeah.
I like that.
I said we were going to make some people angry with these lists. I think a couple of people are going to be angry, especially Fort Worth Christian people with Walker, with Ryan. But
I mean, okay, you proved it the thing about it is you have talent. No one's going to disregard that.
No, no one.
We all know.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all got some guys over there, but you started rough last year and then you ended the season not bad. But you need. I want to see it this year. I want to see it from the beginning. That's all I want.
Trying to get a gauge on Fort Worth Christian is like the perpetual struggle. You can never tell how good they are, and they'll lose to like 3 teams they shouldn't have lost to, and they'll come out and they'll beat the number 1 ranked team in the state. It just doesn't make sense.
And then they'll go put up a really good fight against DC, and you're like, oh shoot, this team's right up next, because we thought they might get crushed in the DC Fort Worth Christian game. That game was really close.
They fought with them.
Right.
Dude,
so
I'll never forget. I was in the press box as a graduate assistant, as a graduate assistant for Grace for one of their playoff games, and we were playing Fort Worth Christian, and I'd scouted them. I did all my scouting on their tape and stuff, and I was like, they're all right. I mean, I think we'll beat them because we were good that year, and they came out and they beat us. I was like, what on earth? It's just that's a microcosm for what FWC is.
You don't know.
No, you never know, but. Moving on, we see John Raybook asks us, what are the best matchups in D2 this year? So I went and I gazed the schedule and I gazed the districts and I said, the best matchups, I'll give you 4 of what I think are the best matchups in district. You have Midland versus All Saints, Legacy versus Faith, Regents versus St. Michael's, and Fort Bend versus Second Baptist. I think those are 4 really, really good games, and 4 games we're probably going to have to cover. Walker, you have anything to add to that?
I'm thinking for a second. I want to see if I disagree. You know what? Add into that the rivalry that is Faith versus Fort Worth Christian. I want to add that in there.
Oh yeah, they do not like each other.
They do not, and I hope they play that out in district. They better. I'm going to be very, very disappointed if they don't. I'm going to be very, very disappointed. So I'm going to say that now. I'm very disappointed if one of those schools does not play each other. If they do like a regular weird non-district game later in the season, or they do it earlier, they better do that game. That's all I want. Anyways,
Ryan,
I put me down for Fort Worth for Southwest Christian. I want to see that. I want to see.
That'll be a good game.
I want to see that mostly because I think that's the spot for the 3rd spot. Don't get me wrong. I think All Saints is a top 3 team. I think they'll make playoffs, no doubt. I think that 3rd spot comes down to that game. And whenever will they play that toward the end of the year? Because if that game is closer to playoff time, I think that's a crazy matchup for that 3rd spot in the district. Yeah,
that's a big time. Yeah, and I think what is it? I wonder. Wes, do you think
Hmm.
like TWCA can make some noise in that district 4 with SBS
Uh,
losing some guys?
you want me to be honest off the top of my head? No.
Yeah.
They're probably going to clown me for that, and now that I say that, they probably will. But
Yeah, they're
no,
gonna
I
come
think
out
that
and win every game this year. Now you just said that.
dude,
I mean, you're
think
losing
that
some
district.
guys, but like
I think that district is Fort Bend's, and it's Fort Bend's going to run it, and then I think Second Baptist is still probably second behind them. I just
Yeah.
don't think TWCA has the guys.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm just thinking of games in the South that would be interesting to watch. Like I think in the playoffs, I think this year with the senior Joe Moreland against Fort Bend would be interesting to watch. I think that's the
I
only other
agree.
game.
I
in the
think Joe
South.
Moreland and them they got to come out and prove something. I've said it before. What I saw in that quarterfinal game with Fort Bend versus St. Michael's was emasculating. It was horrible. They came out and they dog walked them. And if that matchup happens again, there was some stuff that happened post game, and I'm sure that St. Michael's hasn't forgotten about that. And I'm very, very interested to see how they respond. But
I just think you have a big three of Carson Kruger, Joe Moreland, and then you have the big guy in the middle, Ja Griffin.
Yeah.
And I think those three, and then you have, you're losing Jack Esparza, which is going to be big for them. Losing Jack is going to be huge, but I think you have guys, and I wouldn't be surprised if they have a guy or two come in. But like those guys, I think they can make something. My big prediction, I don't know anything about regions right now, and I need to go down there and see what they have. Who's replacing Drew? That's the big question. Who is going to replace Drew?
Right.
And you replace Weston Benson on the other side. But yeah, they have guys, you have Whitfield Power on the one side. You have Jacob Wilborn, the 24 corner, who I really like. I think his tape is really good. I just think they have a team and they have some guys that I know about, but like who's their main guy? Because you leave a SEC quarterback away, he's gone. Who takes over and is the star of that team? But it's always been Austin Regents. They always have that one guy who leads them. So we'll see who it is next year.
Yeah, that's a good point. Go on.
I was gonna say I want to see the first D1 matchup versus D2 match. Or sorry, like when I say D1, I mean Midland and All Saints. I want to see Midland and All Saints, whatever their non-district schedule is. If they play a D2 team, like I just want to see the first time that D1 team plays a D2 team in D2. Like I want to see, is it really that big of a difference between like D1 and D2, where like a Midland team really shows that we're not supposed to be in D2. Like we are a D1 team. I want to see the first one. I just want to see the first game that happens there. I think it'd be interesting to see, like, is Midland and All Saints going to prove by far that these two teams are just not supposed to be in D2, or will they fit right into their district and it'll be a competitive district? I think that's something to think about.
Well, Midland's first game overall is a non-district game against Regents. That'll be interesting.
Oh,
that'll be the measuring stick of all measuring sticks.
That's the measuring stick, right? I mean, that has to be. Regents going to be a kind of a middle of the path, maybe D2 the team this year. We don't know. We don't know a lot. We talked about how they just lost a lot of guys, so that will be the test. That will be the test.
You know who Midland's second game is?
Who?
Pleasant Grove.
Pleasant Grove? That's a big test.
That's a ballsy move.
That's a big Texarkana team that has always had success for the past couple of years. So
what was that bald dude they had that was a monster? Was it
Landon Jackson? So his younger brother is cold too. He's a 25. Really? He's a big man. Big 6'5" monster.
Did I tell you I played Landon Jackson in 7-on-7. He played receiver and I was a safety. And they just put him out at receiver against a bunch of little white kids from Grace, and he just destroyed us. I remember that.
I want to see if I can find it. My goodness, yeah, that 2025 from Pleasant Grove is his younger brother. Yeah, Lance Jackson. He's 6'6", 245. Already gosh. As a freshman. Yeah, he
as a freshman, like 15 years old.
He was 2025. Yeah.
Jeez.
But yeah, that's it.
Okay, so that wraps up our what was initially our best matchups in D2 that spiraled into something completely different, but that's kind of how the podcast rolls. We are now moving on to, we got about 4 different questions relating to, does anyone have a shot at Dallas Christian in D3? How do y'all feel about DC moving down to D3? Will anyone come within 45 points of DC in D3? So to address the first question, does anyone have a shot?
I think
in
it's
their district, absolutely not.
I think it's the only two teams are Cypress and TCS.
And after I wrote down, I don't think TCS even does now after Marcus is gone.
Is Marcus gone?
Wait, what?
He's
Marcus was a 23.
Yeah, Marcus
Sorry.
is a 23. I thought he
Marcus
transferred.
is
I was
back.
like, what?
No, I would have been very upset. No, never mind. Yeah,
that team without Marcus is done. I'm sorry, like that's not even close to a matchup for DC. Well, who's going to put points up on the board?
So I don't know. I don't know who can come close.
So I'm going to do everyone the courtesy of reading Dallas Christian's district right now. It is All Saints Episcopal out of Tyler. No comment. McKinney Christian, host Zeke.
Dallas no Zeke.
Brook Hill, Brook Hill is a team that could that still has the athletes to compete in D2. They just lost kids and they're in D3. They'll be fine, just not DC fine. DC is going to go from kicking Brook Hill's butt in D2 to kicking Brook Hill's butt in D3, and that kind of sucks that they moved down with Brook Hill. And then Dallas Covenant. So yeah, DC is not going to have a game within 50 points in their district. And I say that with full confidence. And I dare any team in District 2 to prove me wrong. But I mean, it's just, and then outside of that, yeah, I think it's the only teams maybe is Cypress and TCS Lubbock. Maybe Grace Prep. If Grace Prep doesn't disappear in the playoffs, yeah, maybe they can too.
That's a good point. Grace Prep could. Grace Prep is
Grace. Yeah.
I think if anyone would love to play Dallas Christian, it would probably be them. Grace Prep has some dogs over there, and they love passing the ball. Jalen Talton is one of my favorites over there, and they'll throw the ball. Caden Lehu, Caleb Mathis over there. They got guys. I
know. Bringing Speedy Nettles back into the conversation, I know those are the guys that want to go at guys like Speedy Nettle. I think Grace Prep versus DC would be an incredible matchup.
Yeah, no, give me a final four of TCS, Cypress, Grace Prep, and DC. I think that's good. I think that's good final four. I think that's the right final four.
Or not DC. D3 is actually a little more interesting than I thought. Now I think DC will end up rolling through it.
Yeah, DC's the favorite, right? But it's gonna be interesting to see with teams moving up and moving down, who the guys behind it,
Yeah, if we had betting lines here, it'd be minus like 5,000 DC. No, plan. Sorry, we're not allowed to talk about that. So what we've heard from our good friend Mr. Tepper.
I forgot about that. Yeah, I mean, final verdict: DC most likely will roll through Division 3. You can't ever put a final stamp on that, but I'm going to guess DC rolls through unless something unexpected happens, which it probably won't.
Yep.
Anyway, moving on. Transfers in and out. There have been a few big names that have left and have also come into private school. And the big name so far is Caleb Mitchell, from a defensive lineman from DeSoto, has transferred into Parish Episcopal. I'll repeat that again. A defensive lineman from DeSoto transferred to Parish. People don't transfer out of DeSoto. Walker, we were talking about that off of that little barbecue place in off of 20. That doesn't happen. How does that happen?
I no comment. I don't know, but good for but good for Parish. I mean, Caleb Mitchell has been a guy who's been on the scene since he's an 8th grader. He's a good player, and I'm guessing he just wanted a better. I don't know what he wanted, but I mean, I guess he just wanted to win a championship with Parish, and that's what he's going for. But that mean, you lose. Who they lose this last year on the defensive line? I don't. No one.
No,
they lost
a year.
Yeah. No, they lost. They lost the what's called. They lost. We gave him an award. I can't.
Well, I mean, you lose Keegan Addison. I guess that's one.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
So, but he plays more linebacker. But you have Caleb Mitchell, Trey Williams, Jalen Hall right in the middle.
Oh my gosh.
You have James Cave on the other side, the number 33 or whatever. Remember, you have some good linebackers. You have Ole Miss commit, Zimri. Demery. You have some good. You have corners. You have a team, man.
What
And
else did you expect?
Like-
I mean, this is Parish physical we're talking about here.
That's like, I remember like their non-district schedule is insane. And
I'm pulling it up right now.
Alito, I know they're playing Alito. I know they're playing. Who else are they playing?
They're playing Alito. They're playing Bel Air Episcopal. They're playing LBJ again.
That's
they're
a tough
playing-
game.
Is that South Oak Cliff? There's no way that's
Yes,
South
yes,
Oak. Oh
that
my
is South
gosh.
Oak Cliff.
There's South Oak Cliff and China Spring.
Hey, that South Oak Cliff is going to be a fun game to go watch. That's
We
gonna
might,
be a-
yeah, we're gonna have to. One of us is gonna have to go up there and cover that. God,
Now-
this is ridiculous.
I think this begs the question: is the only competitive district or competitive division this year D2 and D4?
in terms of the best team, yes.
yeah.
Not
I mean,
even D4 is not even competitive. Shiner's gonna run through D4. I'll say that right now.
Right.
Shiner will probably run through D4.
Right. So
Okay.
this is your question here: is D2 the only one where you don't have like a designed winner in as of June? Like,
Yeah, I think
it's you got Parish, DC, and Shiner. I mean, we don't. D2 might be the only one where it's close enough to where you don't have a team that's an outright winner. Actually, not even close to an outright winner. I think I think you have non-competitive, and then you just have the most competitive one at D2. I couldn't name a winner right now. Not even.
I'll tell you
close.
right now, teams I think that could compete for a championship: All Saints, Midland, Fort Bend. I'm going to put St. Michael's in there.
And I think
region. We'll
yeah.
put a star by regions. So 5. I think 5 teams could compete.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Which is crazy to think about. Like there's
Yeah, because
5
all the
teams up
other-
for that spot, and then
Because
the
all
other ones
other
only have
divisions are just
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know, man. It's the more we talk about it, the more this season is going to be crazy. Just because every division is just going to be nuts. Yeah, let me go back and look at Parish. Yeah, this is going to be an absolute slaughter in that district. They're going to can Lynch.
Has
They're
to
going to
be.
can JP2. They're going to can Nolan. They're going to can Prestonwood. They're going to can TC. It's not even close. And then they're going to go to playoffs and then can everyone from the south.
Right.
Oh, I've said it about 40 times this episode, but it will be interesting. Also, Walker, go on.
Place your bet on who's going to be the Andrew Paul of next year for Parish. Who's the guy who's going to rise up in the recruits? Trey Williams had it in the spring, so he could get the big names next year if he had another year. But
Trey Williams doesn't count. He's already.
I was gonna say, are you saying who's gonna be? Oh, you're saying who's gonna be the next rise for Parish offer wise?
yeah,
through the season.
I can see that guy who just transferred from South Lake Carroll.
I was literally just about to say that. And he also is going to be a running back, which is why I was going to bring him up. Let's get his name real quick. I need to get his name.
And that O-line, did they only lose Gilmore off that O-line?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they're
Gilmore's a 23.
Oh,
he has another year.
Why do I think all these 23s are
No,
seniors?
they lose the center Weber and they lose the left or right tackle. But they have him, they have Leo, and they have the Sam, and they have Noah Pequeños.
I think Sam's only gonna be a junior, I think.
Yeah, but no, the guy I think is James Caves, that defensive end. 6'6", 235, long, lanky. I don't think he'll get the Georgia offer, but I mean he has offered from Air Force, and I think he could be a guy who could get maybe an offer or two bigger than he has right now.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect guy to pick right now. It's going to be super interesting to look back at this episode in November and see like if we just hit everything on the head or we were completely wrong about everything, because we're throwing out a lot of bold stuff.
That's the fun part.
I was going to say, if we're going to go to that area, this is the running back that transferred from South Carolina. His name's Maddox Reed. He's already visited TCU, so I don't know what that means, but he's visited TCU on an unofficial visit, which I don't know, but he's undersized a little bit, 5'9", 190. He's a 24, but he's going into that running back position at Parish. I don't, and this is a claim for me. I don't know if he'll get the Georgia offer, because Georgia's Georgia, but this is a guy that has 2 years on him. He's going to come in. and he might fit in right there for Parish. And if he does well in that ecosystem, I mean, you're talking about a guy that's about to get lined up with offers for just being in the right place at the right time.
Not about
Dude, I don't think I've ever heard a football program described as an ecosystem. I like that.
I like that.
I think that's what you call Parish Episcopal. I think you call them an ecosystem.
It's just a living, breathing entity.
Right? Has to be.
It really is.
It really is.
So that, unless we actually Walker, you want to talk about the two big guys from Episcopal, the quarterback and the wide receiver?
Yes, I do. Andre Thompson. So it's been Kincaid for a while over there in SBC 4A, but I mean, some of the names coming into Episcopal, I mean, Episcopal can make some run for it next year. Andre Thompson is a 5'9" speed. He's just speed, man. Speed kills. And he's short, swift, agile, athletic, will make you miss every single time. And I'm really excited to see him play because I think he'll be really, really good. And the other guy is, they had, what was his name? They had a quarterback there that was going to be the Episcopal guy. Then he left for forgot what school, but Carson Gordon comes in from Fort Bend Ridgepoint and is the guy now. And he's already offered by Tech. He's been offered by some other places, and he's the guy that's going to take over for Episcopal. And he's a good player, man. He was behind Bert Emanuel there at Ridgepoint, who I thought was a really good player last year. But yeah, man, that's a dual threat right there. That's going to be very, very interesting with them two throwing and catching the ball. Very, very impressive. And I think plus the other guys they have, they needed time. They're young. They might be there now. You never know. We'll see. We'll see with Kincaid losing one of the Bell brothers and some LaSalle and some other guys. It could be their time.
Ryan seems to be grimacing.
So I just want to ask, because we didn't really talk about it that much, and I don't think we got a question about it, but it is interesting. As of June, whatever, what do y'all think is the SBC 4A runner and the SBC 3A runner?
Funny enough, we actually did get a question that asked exactly that I was about to pose to y'all. So yeah, gun to your Ryan. Let's start with you. Gun to your head. Who right now do you think is the state champion in SBC 4A and 3A?
As the guy that went there for the championships last year, this is what I run through my head. I have to believe Kincaid's going to go back to back. I mean, they're set up to be that way. Micah is insanely good at his position, and I think Micah could turn into his brother, and the fact that he could just play every position. And I think Kincaid just turns that way to just be a program that does that. When me and Walker went to ESD, we heard a lot of good stuff from them about what their program's going to start doing. I would love to see how that will turn out, but when it comes to then for the what's called the D3 side, really this year it wasn't even close. It was John Cooper School by such a margin. I just don't even know what was competitive. I mean, I think that state championship was not even close to being competitive. So like, if John Cooper does anything like they did last year, it's hard to say that they won't be the exact same team and they won't win the exact same way. I think it needs to get to a point where, and I don't know if the SBC will do this, but they just need to make it all one division, just like it is for the other ones. I mean, it just needs to be the same. It just needs to be D3 and D4 need to be together, just like all the other sports are. I don't know. That's my opinion.
So you think John Cooper and Kincaid?
Yes. Are you asking like, do I think that they should play together in a championship versus?
No. I'm saying, do you think those are your two teams for 4A?
Oh no, those are the two teams I have. Yeah.
Yeah, from my perspective, I mean, 3A is not close. I think it's John Cooper, and I don't think it's close. 4A is more interesting. I think the teams you choose from are ESD, Kincaid, and I think Bel Air sneaks their way into that conversation now.
Right.
If you're asking me to choose one of those teams, the lazy take on my part would be to say Kincaid solely because Kincaid won it last year. But I think that also could be the correct take because they still have Micah. They still are going to be incredibly talented. I like what Walker's saying. I do think Bel Air really does have the talent to do that this year. And then again, ESD is ESD. They're always there. They're always going to compete. Right. So I'm going to take the coward's way out of this answer and say those are my three teams I think could win it. Walker, don't do what I did. Who do you think is going to win in SBC 4A and 3A?
I will go John Cooper in 3A, and I will go Episcopal in 4A.
I like it.
Oh, there you go.
I think those are good answers. I really do. Yeah, SBC 4A is going to be a bear this year. It's going to be like TAPS D2. It's going to be a lot of competition.
If I had to put like a 1B, you told me to set my thing in stone, so I did Episcopal. But like if I had to do 1B, it would be Kincaid. I think Campabianco, the quarterback, the 24, is not bad at all. And
He's solid.
I think
Oh, yeah.
I like what you said, Ryan. I'm gonna guess they use a lot more of Micah this year with Dylan gone, and I think Micah becomes that guy, kind of does what he needs to for the team. So I mean, I can see him making noise too. I think like you said, the best player in division in the SPC next year will be Michael Bell. So if that means if he can help his team all the way, there you go.
So that'll conclude our segment that started as transfers in and out, then somehow got to SBC 4A and 3A. But we now move into our second to last question. This was submitted. It said, what are your thoughts on doing a statewide combine camp for TAPS and private school only players that is run by TAPS and private school coaches? Funny enough, we have actually discussed this idea between us. We discussed it, I think, last year. talked about the potential of it. The thing is, we wanted to do a camp that was run by us. We actually have a gigantic Google Doc in our drive that I read over that would plan out how we did it, and it would be very good. The thing is, as full-time college students, we don't have the time, we don't have the capital to put that on. However, I think this idea is perfect, and I think it's something that we want to work towards eventually if we get the opportunity, is doing a statewide combine camp for TAPS athletes only to get them more recognition. So Walker, like I said, it's an idea we've mulled over before. What are your thoughts on it?
I think if the thing about camps, because speaking from experience in high school, speaking from a guy who's been in the industry, camps can really help you and get you what you want out of it, or they can be a waste of money and they were not worth your time. And to make sure we get it right, we want to make sure it's the right way. So I don't know if that's something we do this summer, because we would want to make sure we do it right.
Oh yeah, definitely. It wouldn't be this summer.
So don't get your hopes up or anything like that. But in the spring, maybe, or maybe a spring, or maybe in the summer. But we could think about that down the line. But I can promise you this: if we did it, we would make sure you get the most out of it. And whether that means having the right people to train there, or making sure you have the right coaches there, making sure you have cameras and all of that, so you can film every rep, you can get all your data right, you can get all this correct. Because, having to say, oh yeah, we're just going to put on a camp, and then you come and you do some drills and you leave, and you wait, some guy from San Antonio drove all the way up to Waco, for example, and he just wasted all that gas money for nothing. That's not what we would want. And we would make sure we would put it on for the best of y'all, and because we would put our name on it. So we want to make sure it's the best. So for sure, it's on the radar. We wanted to do it. If y'all would want to see that, like this video, comment down below, tweet at us, let us know what you're thinking, because we really would want to do that. And if anyone would want to host it, would you want to do a DFW, do a Houston one, and people go to that one? Would you want to do one mega one? What would y'all want? Kind of let us know what y'all are thinking, because we're still in the works with that, but we're trying to figure that all out.
Oh, for sure. Ryan, there's a ton of moving parts around this. What are your thoughts on the idea as a whole, and just like the specifics of pulling it off?
Yeah, I mean, y'all graduate next spring, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's almost over college time, and you're going to be in the real world and stuff like that. And I think what you'll start to see is that, a lot of this right now is us in college and doing full-time stuff, with also trying to balance work and school and also the podcast, right? So, we're doing a lot of different stuff going on. Maybe by the time things roll around next spring, it could be a lot easier to put on. But yeah, we've been talking about this. I mean, since we basically 3 months after starting the podcast, we were talking about how, we're like, well, we kind of could put on a camp. That'd be kind of cool. We were talking about that early. And, it's definitely something that I would want to do. But you're totally right. I don't want to just throw this together. This is not something that I feel like the three of us want to just like, just want to like casually do. It's got to be something that's got to be professional, making sure that we have everything filmed and properly documented to make sure that everything is like, you can show coaches, what you did in this camp, and, maybe have coaches there or whatever. You always want like everything done professionally, so that when a college coach looks at it, they're like, oh, this is like a top tier thing. Like, this is something that we can actually count as credible. Right. I think that's important.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll say this. We're nothing if not ambitious. We started a podcast 3 months later. We're like, we can host a camp. We can do this.
I remember when we were like, let's do an award show. We'll get the funding for it.
Yeah.
And I know you did it. So
This couldn't be that hard. And then
we can get funding for it. So
no, you said we could do it. No, we've done it twice. We've done it twice.
We have done it twice.
So
thank God we did it the first time, because we learned what to do and what not to do.
Absolutely. And we're improving each year. We're getting more and more stuff out to y'all, because we just need time to figure out everything in our lives and figure out what's the best way to go about it. So
year three coming up right here. Well, technically full season of year 2, but we're getting into our almost like third year of playoffs at this point. So there you go.
Oh yeah. No, I'll say for sure. The strides that we've been making behind the scenes, year 3 you're going to see more jump from year 2 to year 3 than you did even from year 1 to year 2. It is going to be crazy, the stuff we're going to be able to do and we're going to be able to bring to you. And I, for one, am very excited for that opportunity. Well, guys, unless y'all have anything else to plug or add, I think we can wrap it up there. So, Walker, Ryan, anything else y'all want to say before we get out of here?
Start listening to us.
7-on-7. If y'all have any 7-on-7 meets you want us to go to, I don't know if you can hear my banging on my desk, but 7-on-7. If y'all have any 7-on-7 tournaments you want us to come by, we will try to go to them. But let us know, please. That's all I have to say. Thank you for listening.
And Fort Bend guys, stop bothering me. We'll be in College Station. I get it. We'll see y'all there. But yeah, no, me and Walker are definitely going to be down there. Should be early July. We're going to see the UIL state championship and all the TAPS guys that got to make it. We are very excited to cover y'all. So with that being said, I have been Wes Tolleson, and Walker Lott and Ryan Schroeder have fantastically, as always, been themselves. We will see you in the next episode. See you later.
3, 2, 1.